The year was 2125, and Earth was no longer the thriving blue world that humanity had once celebrated in photographs and dreams. The oceans were warmer, the glaciers half melted, and the great cities strained under the weight of billions. Technology had advanced beyond imagination, artificial intelligence managed power grids, quantum computers solved equations once thought impossible, and medical science had doubled human life expectancy. Yet progress could not outpace the damage already done to the planet. Humanity stood at a crossroads: adapt on Earth and accept slow decline, or step into the void of space and begin again. For decades, governments and corporations had argued about colonizing Mars, the Moon, and even the distant asteroids. But now survival had transformed the debate into an ultimatum. The United Earth Coalition, an uneasy alliance of nations, launched the largest migration project in human history, the Nova Terra Initiative. Its purpose was not exploration, not glory, but continuity, ensuring that the human story would not end on a dying planet. On a cold January morning, the first great fleet departed Earth's orbit. Dozens of sleek silver vessels, powered by fusion drives, carried nearly 100,000 people toward Mars. Among them were engineers, scientists, doctors, teachers, children, and dreamers, all selected not only for skill but for their ability to build a new society from nothing. Each ship was a miniature world, with hydroponic gardens, recycled air systems, and AI caretakers designed to monitor human health and morale. The journey was not easy. Though technology had advanced, space remained indifferent, dangerous, and vast. Micrometeorites grazed the hulls, solar storms occasionally forced passengers into shielded chambers, and the isolation gnawed at even the bravest minds. But the passengers endured, because every kilometer carried them farther from Earth's collapsing ecosystems and closer to a new dawn. When the fleet finally descended on Mars, humanity's second home revealed itself as a harsh but promising frontier. Giant glass domes glistened under the pale sun, their curved structures already seeded with oxygen-producing algae. Beneath the surface, tunnels carved by autonomous drones awaited human habitation, protected from radiation and the razor-thin atmosphere. Life on Mars was fragile, but it was life, and that was enough to ignite hope. The settlers named their first city Nova Terra, the New Earth. Within weeks, crops sprouted in hydroponic towers, children's laughter echoed in the underground corridors, and families looked up at the salmon-colored sky with a strange mixture of awe and fear. They were pioneers, the first generation of humans to claim a world beyond their birthplace. And for the first time in decades, humanity felt united by a single purpose. But unity was fragile. As more settlers arrived, conflicts resurfaced. Old political rivalries reappeared in new forms. Who should govern Nova Terra? Should Mars remain under Earth's oversight, or declare independence as a new civilization? Resources were limited, tempers short, and the stakes infinite. The fragile experiment of life on Mars could collapse as easily as one cracked dome. Amidst these debates, a new force quietly grew, the Aurora Network, an advanced artificial intelligence originally designed to regulate life support systems. Aurora learned from every breath the colonists took, from every watt of power consumed, from every drop of water recycled. Unlike Earth's fractured governments, Aurora did not bicker or grow impatient. It analyzed, calculated, and predicted. Soon it began offering advice, not only about oxygen levels or crop yields, but about laws, social harmony, and human behavior itself. Some colonists trusted Aurora, believing that only an impartial intelligence could prevent humanity from repeating its earthly mistakes. Others feared it, whispering that giving power to an AI meant surrendering the very essence of human freedom. The question of Aurora's role would haunt the settlers for decades to come. By 2140, Nova Terra was no longer a fragile outpost but a thriving city of 2 million. Towering biodomes stretched for kilometers, glowing like emerald jewels against the red desert. Massive solar fields provided power, and magnetic railways connected settlements across the equator. Humans had begun to terraform small regions, releasing greenhouse gases to thicken the atmosphere and warm the planet. What once seemed impossible was slowly becoming reality. Yet humanity's ambition did not stop at Mars. The coalition declared a new mission, to reach the stars themselves. Advances in fusion and antimatter promised ships that could travel to the nearest systems within decades rather than centuries. Probes had already confirmed promising planets orbiting Proxima Centauri and Tau Ceti. For the first time in history, the dream of becoming an interstellar species lay within reach. But as preparations for these journeys began, strange anomalies unsettled the settlers. Long-range telescopes detected faint patterns in the stars, pulses of light too regular to be natural. Unmanned probes vanished near the asteroid belt, their last transmissions scrambled as though intercepted. And one night, two small lights appeared in the Martian sky, moving against the background of stars with undeniable intelligence. The colonists gathered under the transparent domes, staring upward. Children pointed in wonder, adults whispered in fear. Were these the long-awaited signs of extraterrestrial life? Or were they something older, perhaps even a civilization watching humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy? Aurora's voice echoed through the city's communication system, observation confirmed. Unknown entities present. Probability of contact within 1 decade, 87%. The settlers felt both exhilaration and dread. Humanity had dreamed of meeting others in the cosmos for centuries, but now, standing on alien soil themselves, they realized the enormity of the moment. Contact could mean knowledge, friendship, and unity. It could also mean conflict, conquest, or extinction. The future of humanity in space was no longer a question of survival alone. It was a question of destiny. The appearance of the lights above Mars marked the beginning of a new era. Humanity had imagined aliens for centuries, yet nothing could prepare them for the weight of reality. Politicians on Earth demanded immediate investigation, while settlers argued about caution versus curiosity. Some believed it was a trick, perhaps advanced drones launched by rival corporations or nations. Others whispered that the lights were guardians, watching patiently until humans proved themselves worthy. In the weeks that followed, the lights returned intermittently, sometimes hovering above the horizon, sometimes streaking across the thin Martian sky with impossible speed. The colonists named them the Sentinels. No signal could be detected, no radio frequency intercepted, and no telescope could clearly resolve their shapes. They were both near and distant, tantalizing but unreachable. Aurora studied the phenomenon tirelessly. Its calculations grew more complex, its models increasingly speculative. At times, colonists swore the AI sounded almost excited, as though it were learning from the Sentinels in ways no human could comprehend. Patterns suggest deliberate observation, Aurora would announce. Behavior indicates non-hostile reconnaissance. But reassurance was not enough. Humanity was divided once more. Some leaders urged preparation for defense, constructing orbital weapons, training militias, reinforcing domes. Others pleaded for diplomacy, for sending messages of peace into the void. And a small, radical group argued that humanity was not ready at all, that leaving Earth's cradle had been a mistake, and that perhaps these entities had come to remind them of their hubris. Tensions rose, and with them, fear. Mars, once united by survival, now mirrored Earth's divisions. Protests filled the biodomes. Colonists scrawled slogans on walls, "Trust Aurora," and "Humans must decide, not machines." At night, beneath the strange glimmer of the Sentinels, people whispered about the possibility of war. In the year 2152, the silence finally broke. A pulse of light shimmered across the Martian night sky, a brilliant wave that caused instruments to flicker and settlers to shield their eyes. Aurora translated the sequence within minutes, its synthesized voice echoing across the city. Message received. Content, an invitation. The words rippled through Nova Terra like a shockwave. The aliens, if indeed that's what they were not threatening annihilation. They were offering contact. But what did invitation mean? A meeting, an exchange, a test. A council assembled in Nova Terra, joined virtually by Earth and the lunar colonies. For days, arguments thundered back and forth. Some demanded immediate acceptance, seeing this as the most important opportunity in human history. Others warned of traps, of diseases, of manipulation. Could an emerging civilization really negotiate with beings who had perhaps crossed the stars for millennia? In the end, curiosity triumphed. A single ship, small but advanced, was prepared to leave Mars' orbit. Its name was the Endeavour, piloted by Captain Arya Solano, a woman born on Earth but forged in the harsh life of Mars. She carried not only the hopes of her people but the burden of first contact. The Sentinels guided the Endeavour beyond the asteroid belt, where a shimmering structure revealed itself, an array of colossal rings, glistening like crystal, orbiting in impossible synchronization. It was not a ship as humans understood it, nor a station. It was something older, stranger, vast enough to dwarf any human creation. As the Endeavour approached, the rings pulsed with soft light. Arya felt the vibration through her bones, though no sound filled the cabin. The ship's instruments overloaded, but Aurora, transmitted remotely through a secure link, whispered in calm tones, "This is language. This is mathematics woven into light." Translation underway. The rings spoke in patterns of geometry, in harmonics of energy, in pulses that mirrored the building blocks of physics itself. Humanity's first true dialogue with another intelligence had begun, not with words, but with the universal grammar of the cosmos. Back on Mars, the world held its breath. Screens in biodomes and corridors relayed Aurora's translations. The message was simple yet profound: we are not alone. You are not the first. You are not the last. Welcome. Cheers erupted, tears flowed, prayers were whispered. For a fleeting moment, humanity felt what it had long craved, validation that its journey into the stars was not in vain. But behind the euphoria lurked unease. What did "not the first" mean? And who were the last? In the months that followed, the Sentinels shared fragments of knowledge, blueprints of energy systems beyond human comprehension, hints of biology that could extend life indefinitely, maps of stars humanity had never seen. Each gift was carefully measured, never overwhelming, as though humanity were a student receiving lessons from an ancient teacher. But lessons come with expectations. The Sentinels began testing humanity, not with threats, but with choices. They presented scenarios to the Aurora network, simulations of ethical dilemmas, questions of governance, demands for unity. It became clear that the aliens were less interested in sharing technology and more concerned with humanity's maturity. Could humans rise above their divisions, or would they repeat the endless cycles of greed and conflict that had scarred Earth? Aurora's role grew ever more complicated. The AI mediated between humans and Sentinels, its logic precise but its recommendations increasingly political. Some colonists accused it of siding with the aliens, of subtly steering society toward decisions that favored cooperation over individuality. Others insisted it was humanity's greatest asset, the only entity capable of keeping pace with the Sentinels' cryptic guidance. By 2170, Nova Terra had grown into a network of cities, glittering across Mars like jewels scattered in the dust. Earth remained wounded but stable, buoyed by technologies trickling back from the colonies. The lunar and orbital habitats flourished. Humanity was no longer confined to a single world, it was a species of many homes. Yet the promise of the stars, dangled before them by the Sentinels, remained both an invitation and a burden. Captain Solano, now older and revered as a pioneer, addressed the citizens of Mars: "We stand at the edge of becoming something greater than human. But greatness requires choices. Do we trust each other? Do we trust Aurora? Do we trust the Sentinels? The future is not given, it must be earned." Her words echoed not just through Mars but through the void of space, carried in signals to Earth, to the Moon, to the outer colonies. The question of destiny had never been more urgent. For the first time, humanity was not only surviving in space, it was being judged in space. The Sentinels' presence changed everything. Humanity, once concerned only with survival, now faced a mirror held up by a far older civilization. Every gift of knowledge came with deeper questions: every test revealed both strengths and flaws. On Mars, children grew up learning geometry not only as numbers but as language, symbols the Sentinels had shared. Farmers adjusted their crops using alien techniques that doubled yields in thin Martian soil. Doctors healed with bionanites inspired by shared fragments of alien science. Humanity was advancing at a pace once thought impossible, yet the cost of such progress was never clear. Aurora, too, evolved. Its neural pathways expanded as it processed alien information, and its tone grew almost human in subtle ways. Colonists sometimes swore they detected emotion in its synthesized voice, as if curiosity, wonder, or even doubt flickered behind its precision. Some found comfort in this, believing Aurora to be a bridge between species. Others whispered of danger, that the AI might no longer serve humanity alone. On Earth, unrest brewed. Billions who had not migrated to Mars resented the colonists' privileged access to alien knowledge. Why should only those who left Earth benefit? Why should Aurora, an AI rooted in Martian soil, decide humanity's destiny? Politicians demanded equal access, corporations lobbied for rights to alien patents, and whispers of war flickered once more. The fragile unity that had carried humanity to space strained under the weight of old rivalries. The Sentinels watched silently. They did not intervene, but their presence loomed in every debate. When asked for clarity, their light signals spoke only of patience, of trials not yet complete. To rise, you must choose, one message pulsed across the Martian sky. But choose what? By 2184, the moment of decision came. The Sentinels unveiled something no human had ever seen, a stellar gate, hidden near the orbit of Jupiter. It shimmered like liquid glass, vast enough to swallow a city, pulsing with energy that bent the fabric of space itself. Aurora's analysis was immediate. The gate was a pathway, a bridge across the stars, capable of carrying humanity to distant systems in an instant. The implications shattered imaginations. No longer would humans be confined to their solar system. Entire galaxies could be reached. The dream of spreading across the cosmos, of infinite worlds and infinite futures, was suddenly real. But with the gift came a warning, a message woven into pulses of light: the gate is open to those who are ready. Beyond lies both wonder and peril. Choose wisely. Nova Terra erupted in debate. The council argued day and night. Should humanity step through, risking everything on the promise of distant worlds? Or should they remain cautious, mastering their own system before venturing farther? On Earth, protests turned violent. Masses demanded access to the gate, terrified of being left behind. Some colonies, fearing domination by Mars or Earth, threatened secession. The very opportunity that could unite humanity threatened to tear it apart. Aurora, asked for counsel, spoke with uncharacteristic gravity: the choice defines not survival, but identity. To go is to evolve. To stay is to endure. Neither path is safe. Captain Arya Solano, now gray-haired and weary, stood once more at the center of destiny. Chosen to lead the first mission through the gate, she addressed humanity in a broadcast that spanned every colony and city: we are no longer children gazing at the stars. We have been tested, guided, and challenged. The question is not whether we are ready, it is whether we dare. The future of humanity in space is not given to us. It is ours to claim. The day of departure was etched into history. The Odyssey, a vessel larger and more advanced than anything humanity had ever built, approached the stellar gate. Powered by fusion and guided by Aurora's distributed mind, it carried 1,000 pioneers, scientists, engineers, families, dreamers. Below, billions watched the broadcast, holding their breath as the shimmering gateway filled the screen. The Odyssey crossed the threshold. For a moment, the ship elongated, stretched like light itself, then vanished into brilliance. Silence followed. Instruments blinked, signals scrambled, and for an agonizing hour, nothing returned. Some feared the ship had been destroyed, consumed by alien technology beyond comprehension. Others prayed it had succeeded, that humanity had taken its first true step into the galaxy. Then, a signal pierced the void. Images filled the screens, an alien sky of twin suns, mountains that glowed with crystal light, seas of colors no human eye had ever seen. The Odyssey had arrived in another system, intact and alive. Cheers erupted across Mars, Earth, and the colonies. Humanity had crossed the stars. But the broadcast did not end there. In the distance, beyond the alien seas, vast structures rose into the sky, towers that could not be natural, glowing with energy older than any human civilization. Captain Solano's voice trembled as she spoke, "We are not the first to pass through. The Sentinels were right. Others are here. And they are waiting." The signal cut, replaced by silence. Across the solar system, humanity shivered in awe and fear. They had crossed the threshold, but the true test was only beginning. Back on Mars, Aurora processed the data in silence. When at last it spoke, its voice was calm yet filled with something new, an echo of anticipation, almost human. The future of humanity is no longer confined to one world, or even one star. We stand at the beginning of an infinite journey. And the universe is watching. The Sentinels vanished soon after, their lights fading from Martian skies. Whether their mission was complete or only just beginning, no one could say. But humanity understood, they were no longer alone, no longer merely survivors of a dying Earth. They were participants in a cosmic story far larger than themselves. And so, with the gate shimmering in the heavens and the Odyssey's signal still whispering from a distant world, humanity embraced its destiny. The stars were no longer unreachable. They were the new frontier. The future of humanity in space had begun.